class. So we are here today in my kitchen. For this how-to video, we're going to do a Italian chicken dish. One reason I decided to do a cooking how-to was because, according to the University of Washington, cooking at home saves money and it saves time and it brings families together. So this dish is actually a really easy dish. It doesn't require a lot of ingredients or anything like that. So to get started, you want to make sure you have some paper towels with you for sure. Something to wipe your hands on, because when you grease the dish you need it. So we have chicken, we have mayo, we have zesty Italian seasoning, black pepper, and Parmesan cheese, my favorite cheese. Anyways, so that's your ingredients. So let's get started. Oh, before we start, I almost forgot. You want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees and have that ready to go. Okay, now we'll start. So first thing we want to do is we want to grease our dish. Now, the original recipe from the Delicious Food Recipes blog, you're using chicken breast. I'm using chicken thighs. So I don't need as big of a dish, and it's just my husband and I tonight. So you can adjust this to the amount that you need. So all I'm doing is I'm using some Crisco. I use the Crisco, it works great. So grease the whole pan. You don't want your wonderful food sticking to the pan. Okay, so then we'll wipe off our hands. Alright, so then you're going to take your chicken thighs or your breast, whatever pieces of the chicken you decide to use. It's not picky. You can use bone-in, skinless, skin-on, doesn't matter. Okay. So, looks like this. Alright, so because I handled chicken, safe handling requires me to wash my hands, so I'm going to go ahead and wash my hands. You guys make sure the cat doesn't eat the chicken. Okay, so once you do that, then set your chicken aside, grab a bowl, and you're going to start with your mayo. We need 1 cup of mayo. Now, if you're like my sister and you're not a big mayo fan, but you still want to try the recipe, there is a stuff called Just Mayo I saw at the store, and we tried their garlic version to see what it was like, and it actually was really good as a mayo replacement. So you can always use that too. So we're going to do 1 cup of mayo. I have a half cup measure here, so I got to do 2 of those. The great thing about this recipe, you do not have to be spot on with your measurements. Now, I always recommend Best Foods mayo. I personally won't eat any other mayo. So, and if you're on the East Coast, Hellmann's, it's the best mayo. It really is. Maybe I'll use that for my next speech. Okay, so here's our 1 cup of mayo. Okay, so then your zesty Italian. Sorry, we live near the base, so aircraft are flying. I'm going to use the whole packet. If you have sensitive taste buds, I don't recommend using the whole packet. Use about half, because it can get pretty strong. And then some ground pepper. Just a couple spins of it. mix it all up. Okay, so we have that mixed up. We're going to set that to the side. Time for the Parmesan. We're going to do Parmesan both in the mayo mixture and then on top of the chicken. So you want a half cup of Parmesan for going in the mayo mixture. Once again, this recipe is really simple. You do not have to be right on a half cup, but you can be close. We really like the Parmesan cheese, so I will probably just put a little more than half a cup. So then grate up your Parmesan, or if you have the pre-grated, then you'll be done long before me. Okay, so we have our Parmesan. I'm going to go ahead and dump that in there. Give it another mix. Okay, so bring your chicken back over. And you want to put your mixture on top of your chicken. You really want to make sure you cover all of your chicken, the raw meat, so that it doesn't get dry and crispy when it's in the oven. Because the sauce, this mayo sauce, is what's going to keep everything moist. Every morsel. Okay. Spread it around. Like I said, make sure you get the actual raw meat completely covered. And if you find that you didn't make enough of the mayo mixture, then make some more and add it on. You really want to make sure that you have that covered up. Okay. All right. So now it's ready to go in the oven. Here's what it looks like before it goes into the oven. I'm going to put this in the oven, and while it's cooking, I'll serve this with rice. It's really good with rice, and you can just use some nice buttered rice, or you can do it with a pasta. And it goes really good. This is a very simple dish, and it is versatile in what you can serve it with. So I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'll pause the video and we'll come back when it's done baking. You're going to bake it for 45 minutes. Almost forgot. So you're going to bake it for 45 minutes on 375. You probably want to keep an eye on it. We're at a higher elevation. Those of you in Colorado are at an even higher elevation, so your cooking times can vary. So here we go. Okay, here is our chicken. Looking pretty good and making me kind of hungry because it is smelling really good. So here's what it looks like. Oh man, look at all that oil. Okay, so now that we've got our chicken done, let's dish it up. I made some rice while we were waiting for the chicken to cook. So we're going to go ahead and dish up some rice. All the pots are hot, don't bring your hands. Get a nice bit of rice going right there. Oh, I should have got a fork. Okay. Alright, now I like to put butter on my rice. It tastes really good. So, however you like your rice, you can put whatever you like. So I put a pat of butter on the rice. Then we will get our chicken. We're going to place it right on top. Okay, so there's that. Now, we're not done with the Parmesan. I'm going to break off a hunk of that. Shred some of that Parmesan on top. So while I'm doing that, on the Medical Daily website, they said that the National Center of Addiction and Substance Abuse in Teens found that teens that were raised in homes that did family meals, cooked at home, eaten at home, were less likely to get involved with drugs and alcohol and outside sources of danger. Excuse me 1 second, the cat's going to help himself. Okay, so yeah, so home cooked meals can do a lot for your family. If you have kids, you know, this really helps, kind of like those date nights that we talked about. It does the same thing for your kids. It can really give them a grounding with their family, and it also helps say, you know, everybody stop. Let's take a few minutes out of our day and we're going to enjoy this meal and give us a chance to talk and make sure we remember we all exist. So, alright, so to finish this off, I love basil. So I put basil on everything. So I'm going to sprinkle some basil over this whole thing. And voila, we're done. Here's your Italian chicken and rice meal. And I hope you guys give it a try and enjoy. Thanks.